By now, you've probably heard the stories. ERP projects missing deadlines, companies losing millions, or delivering systems that no one wants to use. Those headlines aren't rare. Over the past 30 years, we've helped thousands of businesses find the right ERP. And let me tell you, we've seen it all. ERP failures is just a symptom of deeper problems. If you're considering upgrading from a legacy system, looking at your first ERP, or recovering from a nightmare SAP rollout, stick around. We'll talk about the real reasons why ERP projects fail and how these 5 mistakes could make or break your project. So why do ERP projects fail? It might seem like the software is the problem, but if hundreds of other companies made the same system work, why doesn't it work for everyone? Think of it like finding water damage in your ceiling. You can repaint it, patch it, even replace the drywall, but unless you fix the leak in the roof, the problem is going to come back. ERP failure is no different. If you only treat the symptoms, you're going to keep repeating the same mistakes. Let's start with one of the most common ones: trying to rush the implementation. Here's how we usually see that played out. A high-level executive announces a go-live date, maybe to impress the board or to hit a quarterly end goal. Suddenly, the clock is ticking. The timeline isn't based on readiness or process complexity, it's based on optics. The vendor scrambles to meet the deadline, the internal team rushes to show progress, and the project racks up in overtime costs. The system is technically live, but no one's ready to use it. Training is skipped, processes go undocumented, and key data goes missing. Soon, your team is reverting to old habits, using manual spreadsheet methods or creating their own workarounds, and the support requests start flooding in. What's worse, the team loses confidence and no one is bought into the digital transformation. Once people see the ERP is broken, the hype is gone, and it's tough to win them back. How do you avoid it? First is understanding how long ERP implementations typically take and budget accordingly. Generally, small businesses can expect 3 to 6 months. Mid-sized companies, 6 to 12. And large enterprises should plan for at least 12 to 24 months. However, we do expect these timelines to shorten somewhat with the help of AI tools. Start by building your timeline around team readiness, not internal procedure. Train your key users early, show how their work will change, and they'll help get the rest of the team on board. If you want to learn how to properly plan, check out our article on the 7 key stages of ERP implementation. The next big reason ERP projects fail? Lack of alignment and unclear requirements. Even with good timelines and solid software, things fall apart if no one defines what success actually looks like. Here's what that misalignment looks like in the real world. The executive team wants visibility and strategic insights. Finance is focused on compliance and cost control. Operations wants faster scheduling and receiving. The end users, they're not even in the room. Everyone has different expectations, but no one has mapped out what's truly important across the business. The vendor fills in the gaps, and you end up with a software that checks boxes, but doesn't fix problems that made you seek ERP in the first place. So how do you avoid this? Start by involving all key stakeholders: executives, department heads, and frontline users. Document current workflows, pain points, and future needs. Have each department or stakeholder create an ERP business case for their specific workflows and identify pain points. And then apply those use cases when making ERP decisions, from feature prioritization to vendor selection. Use the link below to download our ERP business case template, so everyone is on the same page before you choose a system. That brings us to mistake number 3. Poor vendor fit and communication. Why does this happen? It often starts with unclear documentation or assumptions made when teams evaluate and test software. Sometimes vendors just don't know your industry. Other times they're trying to win the deal, so they tell you what you want to hear. But once the project starts, the gaps start to show quickly. You start chasing answers, feel like the ERP expert yourself, and vendor relationships begin to break down. So how do you avoid that? Choose an ERP vendor with real industry experience in your industry. Ask how many businesses like yours they've worked with in the past. Don't rely on sales demos alone. Test real scenarios that match how your team works. And most importantly, be brutally clear about your goals, constraints, and business rules. Don't assume they'll just figure it out. Make them prove they understand. The next mistake? Choosing low cost over long-term fit. Let's be honest, ERP systems are expensive. So it's natural to look for ways to save. But when costs become the primary driver of your decision, you risk sabotaging the entire project. We often see it play out like this. A company picks the cheapest vendor with minimal support included. Now, when real issues come up, support is charged hourly at high rates and costs start to balloon, or the business starts looking elsewhere. Or maybe they skip training and support to keep things lean. Now they're saving a few bucks a month, but in 6 months, users are frustrated, Internal teams are overwhelmed, and they're paying consultants to retain employees and clean up preventable problems. How can you avoid this? Look at the total cost of ownership, not just the licensing fee. Ensure your budgets include proper implementation services, ongoing support, training, and internal resources. If you plan on skimping on support and training, delegate internal resources to support the system internally without relying on consultants. Be wary of any vendor who wins only because they came in cheaper than everyone else. Ask, what did they leave out to hit that number? When you focus on best fit over short-term savings, you win in the long run. The last big mistake? Going in blind. Most teams evaluating ERP just don't know what they're walking into. And why would they? For most businesses, this only happens once or twice, often with different people each time, and no real playbook to follow. That lack of experience makes it easy to miss red flags, overlook what really matters, or take vendors at their word, especially when everything looks polished in a demo. So how do you avoid this without dedicating months of manpower to the project? Don't just watch demos or review videos sent from the developer. Ask them, can you show me how the system handles this exact processes from our business? Don't rely on generic checklists. Score vendors based on your specific use case. And always talk to references. But don't just ask what they liked, ask what they would do differently if they had to do it again. And if you want help doing all of that, we're here to help. At Software Connect, we've helped thousands of companies find ERP systems that actually fit their business. We don't just evaluate the software, we vet the vendors too. And we only connect you with experts who know your industry inside and out. Click the link in the description to get started. Have a horror story about an ERP that didn't work out? A vendor that you'd never work with again? We'd love to hear about it in the comments. Check out our full video on the hidden costs of ERP customization for even more tips on what to avoid before you roll out your system.